Imagine a slow leak, not a burst pipe, not a catastrophic flood that ruins the basement in an hour, but a slow, rhythmic drip. Drip, drip, drip. It is quiet enough that you can sleep through it. It is subtle enough that you can ignore it while you go about your daily routine. But over time, that water accumulates. It rots the beams. It spawns mold behind the drywall. It compromises the structural integrity of the entire house, until one day, the floor simply gives way beneath your feet. This is your financial life right now. You are walking on floorboards that are rotting from the inside out, and the cause is not a sudden emergency or a market crash. The cause is a single, recurring transaction that you have been brainwashed into accepting as normal. It is the payment that is bleeding you dry, the silent killer of your wealth, and the reason why, despite your hard work, despite the overtime, and despite the raises, you never seem to get ahead. We need to zoom in on the scene. Picture yourself in your car. It's a nice car. Maybe it's an SUV with heated leather seats, or a sleek sedan with a panoramic sunroof. You are sitting in traffic, the red taillights of the cars ahead of you stretching out like a river of rubies in the twilight. You grip the steering wheel. It feels solid. It feels like success. You look at the dashboard, the digital glow of the infotainment system, the perfectly engineered climate control keeping you comfortable. You feel good about this machine. It represents your status. It represents your safety. It represents the fact that you are a functioning, successful adult in the modern world. But now, let's shift the camera angle. Let's look through the lens of your bank account. Every single month, a massive chunk of your life energy, your labor converted into currency, is siphoned out of your checking account and sent to a lender. It happens automatically. You barely notice the notification anymore. $600, $700, maybe even $1,000. It leaves your possession and vanishes into the ether. This is the car payment, and it is the single greatest obstacle standing between you and financial freedom. You might be thinking, but I need a car. Everyone has a car payment. It's just part of life. That phrase, "it's just part of life," is the most dangerous sentence in the English language. It is the mantra of the mediocre. It is the lullaby that keeps the middle class asleep at the wheel while their future is stolen from them. Let's analyze the script of how you got here. It started at the dealership. The dealership is a theater designed to manipulate your emotions and obscure the math. You walked in looking for transportation, but you were sold an identity. The salesperson didn't ask you what the total price of the car was. They didn't focus on the interest rate or the depreciation curve. They asked you one question, the question that is the rusty dagger in the heart of your prosperity. What do you want your monthly payment to be? In that moment, the trap was sprung. By focusing on the monthly payment, they decoupled the cost of the car from reality. They stretched the loan term to 72 months, 84 months, maybe even 96 months. They made the unaffordable seem affordable by slicing it into digestible, poisonous little bites. You signed the papers. The pen felt heavy, but the smell of the new car was intoxicating. You drove off the lot, and the moment the rear tires hit the public road, thousands of dollars of value evaporated into thin air. Now, let's look at the hemorrhage. Let's do the forensic accounting on this crime scene. The average new car payment in this country is approaching and in many cases exceeding $700 a month. That is not just money, that is time. If you earn $25 an hour after taxes, that payment represents 28 hours of your life, every single month. You are working 3.5 days just to pay for the privilege of driving to work to earn the money to pay for the car. It is a closed loop of servitude. You are a hamster running on a wheel made of chrome and steel. But the bleeding isn't just about the cash flow today. The true tragedy, the cinematic heartbreak of this story, is the opportunity cost. This is the ghost of the future you could have had.
Imagine an alternate timeline. In this version of the script, you didn't buy the brand new car. You bought a reliable 3-year-old vehicle, or you drove a beater for a while. You took that $700 a month, and instead of sending it to a bank to pay for a depreciating asset, you invested it. You put it into a boring standard index fund. Let's watch the tape forward. $700 a month. Over 5 years, that is $42,000 of principal, but with compound interest, it grows. Over 10 years, it starts to snowball. Over 20 years, that monthly car payment, if invested, would grow to hundreds of thousands of dollars. Over a 40-year working career, if you consistently invested what the average person spends on car payments, you are looking at millions of dollars. Pause and let that sink in. Millions. You are not driving a car. You are driving your retirement. You are driving your children's college fund. You are driving your freedom. Every time you turn the ignition, you are burning the fuel of your future financial independence. The leather seats are comfortable, yes, but are they worth $2 million? Is the sunroof worth 5 more years of working at a job you hate when you are 65 years old? This payment is bleeding you dry because it robs you of the most powerful force in finance, time. Every month that goes by where that money goes to the lender is a month that money cannot work for you. And unlike a mortgage where at least the house might appreciate in value, the car is a sinking ship. It is guaranteed to go to zero. You are paying interest on an asset that is actively rotting. It is a double negative. It is financial suicide committed in slow motion, adorned with a backup camera and alloy wheels. Why do we do it? Why is this script so common that it has become the default setting for society? It is the psychology of the tribe. We are social creatures. We look around and we see our neighbors driving new cars. We see our coworkers pulling up in shiny trucks. We assume that because they have the car, they have the money. But this is a mirage. The screenwriting of the American dream has been rewritten by marketing departments. We confuse ability to pay with affordability. If you can make the monthly payment, you have the ability to pay. That does not mean you can afford it. Affordability is calculated based on your net worth, your savings rate, and your long-term goals. If you have to finance a car for 6 years to keep the payment manageable, you cannot afford the car. You are essentially renting a lifestyle that is above your pay grade, and the landlord, the bank, is laughing all the way to the vault. The bleeding continues elsewhere too. It's not just the car. The car is the general leading the army, but the soldiers are the subscriptions, the credit card interest, the financed furniture, the latest smartphone on a payment plan. We have become a society of subscriptions to existence. You don't own your phone, you lease it. You don't own your music, you rent it. You don't own your car, you service the debt on it. This creates a baseline of anxiety. It creates a monthly nut that you have to crack just to survive. This high fixed cost of living is what makes you fragile. If you lose your job, the bleeding doesn't stop. The payments don't care about your layoff. The repo man doesn't care about your medical emergency. By locking yourself into these high monthly payments, you have removed all the slack from your life. You have built a bridge with no expansion joints, and when the earthquake comes, and it always comes, the bridge snaps. So, how do we rewrite the ending of this movie? How do we stop the bleeding? It requires a plot twist. It requires a moment of character development where the protagonist, you, wakes up and realizes the game is rigged. The first step is a radical shift in perspective. You must stop viewing the monthly payment as a normal part of life and start viewing it as a parasite. You must get angry. You have to look at that nice car in the driveway and not see a status symbol, but see a shackle. It is a beautiful, shiny, comfortable shackle, but it is binding your ankles nonetheless.
The action plan is visceral. It might hurt. It might mean selling the car. It might mean driving something that doesn't turn heads, something that has a few scratches, something that doesn't have Bluetooth. It means swallowing your pride. It means killing the ego that demands you look rich to people who don't care about you. Imagine the freedom of the alternative. Picture a month where no money leaves your account for a car. Picture that $700 staying in your pocket. You breathe easier. Your shoulders drop an inch. You have margin. You have options. If the boss screams at you, you don't have to take it out of fear of missing the Lexus payment. You have power. Wealth is what you don't see. Wealth is the car not purchased. Wealth is the diamonds not bought. Wealth is the money sitting in the investment account, compounding silently in the background, growing like a mighty oak tree while you sleep. The payment is the axe that chops that tree down before it ever becomes a sapling. You have to decide what kind of movie you are living in. Is this a tragedy where the hero works until they are 75, bitter and tired, wondering where it all went, only to realize it went to Ford, Toyota, and BMW? Or is this a redemption story? A story where the hero cuts the line, stops the bleeding, and reclaims their sovereignty? The math is undeniable. The psychology is the barrier. The marketing is the enemy. Every commercial you see is designed to make you feel inadequate without the latest model.
They sell you the feeling of the open road, the wind in your hair, the safety of the all-wheel drive. They never show you the stress of the late notice. They never show you the argument with your spouse about the budget. They never show you the retirement years spent greeting customers at a retail store because you didn't save enough. You must become the director of your own life. You must yell "cut" on this scene of financial hemorrhage. It starts with a decision to reject the payment culture, a decision to pay cash or drive a beater, a decision to value your freedom more than your fender. It is not about being cheap. It is about being strategic. It is about understanding that every dollar you send to a creditor is a soldier you have betrayed, a soldier you sent to fight for someone else's empire instead of your own. The bleeding stops the moment you decide it stops. It stops when you sign the title over to someone else and hand them the keys to your burden. It stops when you look at your bank account and see the flow of money reversing, coming in and staying, pooling into a reservoir of wealth rather than draining into the sewer of debt. This is not just about cars. It is about your life. It is about the finite number of heartbeats you have on this earth. Do not trade them for leather and glass. Do not trade them for the approval of strangers at a stoplight. The payment is bleeding you dry. It is taking the color out of your life. It is making you anemic in a world that requires strength. Look at the numbers tonight. Look at the interest. Look at the term. Look at the total cost. Let the horror of the math wash over you, and then let that horror turn into resolve. You can be free. You can be wealthy. You can be the master of your fate, but you cannot do it while you are bleeding out $700 at a time. The script is yours to rewrite. The pen is in your hand. The stage is set. Will you keep the payment and the illusion of success, or will you cut the debt and build the reality of freedom? The choice is silent, but the impact will echo through the rest of your life.